When we call for that,
Roll call.
okay,
please.
Mark,
Yes.
Kathleen,
Yes.
Barb,
Yes.
Tracy.
Yes.
Karen.
Yes.
Sue.
I'm still here.
Tina.
I couldn't resist.
Okay, I'm gonna triple check any public participation.
Hold on, there's a mouse in my pocket.
Yes, I knew there had to be something. Okay, then we move on to the approval of the minutes for January 2023 special and regular board meetings.
I move we approve them.
I second.
Okay,
Mark,
yes.
Kathleen,
Yes.
Tracy.
Yes.
Barb,
Yes.
Karen.
Yes.
Sue.
Yes.
Tina.
Miss Lynn, correspondence?
Sure. So not a lot this month. Public Library Fund came in strong. You can see that our share is almost $94,000 that came to the, what came to the county. Doing the calculations for the new permanent appropriations that you will be approving in a bit. If we average $75,000 a month from PLF, we will reach our goal of $900,000 at the end of the year. So we are already starting pretty strong, which is good, you know, again, I hate to keep saying it, but we don't know how long this will hold. So we'll take it while we can get it. And as far as what's going on at Ohio Library Council, it was nice to see that the governor in his version of the budget, which is always the first thing that comes out in one of the 2-year state budget cycles, is that his recommendation was that public library funding be moved to the 1.7% of the general revenue fund into permanent law. We've been going budget cycle to budget cycle since the last time we had a recession, but, you know, basically, did I say that out loud? Since the last time we had, you know, economically, the things weren't looking so good nationwide. And so it would be really nice if it was put back into permanent law. And then we wouldn't have to work quite as hard every time there was a budget cycle coming up, although we would still have to make sure that our legislators knew how important we were and that we were doing good things to support our communities. So there's that. There is yet another update from OLC scheduled for next week. So they'll give us, you know, whatever has come from either of the chambers of the legislature, and let's see how that's all working. They have to, by law, have a budget figured out and passed by June 30th, because that's when the current budget ends.
Yep.
So, and it's usually an 11th hour kind of thing. Always just to let you know.
Yep.
The library trustee workshop is coming up. You know, we got you registered. Yeehaw. And so if there's anybody else, I think there's still time. I've been looking for some kind of a notice from them about, you know, cutoff date for registering. I would say a week beforehand, but I haven't seen a date. So if you want to, online or on site, options available. Just in case you have had questions from people you know out in the community, we all know that taxation, all the taxes forms we have to file, everything's gone digital, right? And they do not supply the libraries really with much of anything. We sometimes get a few instruction booklets for the standard forms and maybe a couple of the standard forms, but we do have to print those out. In the past, we have actually done some packets of the standard forms that people would need so that they're, you know, just actually saves our frontline staff a lot of time if we make those copies and give them to the front desks for people to basically buy at the cost of our copies, making copies. So we haven't heard any screaming yet from the frontline staff about having those. So I don't know that it's, what that means.
Is there usually a lot of need for those? Does the community ask for them?
This year is probably, I've seen less people coming in, but usually, yes.
Really? Wow.
Especially the older folks.
Okay.
They're used to coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so it may just be that, as those generations of us who, had to do things longhand for ages, are not having to do it so much anymore and more people are, started out electronically, we may not. I'm sure that there is not going to be a single library staff member anywhere who would be unhappy if we did not have to do this every year.
Same with the IRS.
See, yes.
They don't want the paper
Are
either.
they using the Georgetown meeting room anymore for?
I don't think they're doing it there, where at ABCAP, yes.
Still going down to that.
Yes.
They have one person that they just schedule with and
Yeah.
she meets with
Yeah.
individually.
So, yeah, that's always been a lot of questions we get about, are you, are you doing it? Are you having someone do it? Yeah,
So I guess the only option here is free TurboTax
there it is.
is coming in.
Go to AdCap and.
Yeah.
Each of
So,
them
Dan
do
can-
yeah.
Through it.
free.
Yeah.
If you're doing just a basic.
Basic one, yeah.
Mhm.
And it was actually nice to see that BWC workers' comp is actually doing a rate reduction again.
Does that mean what we pay into it?
It
or
means
what
how-
they get out of it?
Well.
Right.
Or is that both?
Truth is, so we have through the Ohio Library Council, we get to participate in a group rating program, right?
Mhm,
So it's different than the school, but it's same concept, right? And we as a group, libraries as a group, have very few.
Yeah, workman's
Work-
comp.
Bigger libraries, yeah, they've
Yeah.
got security officers and people doing big maintenance things, but not us. So,
Okay.
so it's what we will pay is supposed to be reduced by an average of 2.5%. So that, hey, pennies anywhere will help.
So Lynn, you've been here 26 years. How many workers' comp claims have been filed in 26 years?
0.
I've
That's
had
crazy.
a couple that, were, you call and you go, okay, so give me some examples of what might be, and I really have to go back and refresh myself about what's a reportable. I mean, there are injuries, right? Somebody stubs their toe on a book card, there are things that might actually, you have to go put a Band-Aid on or say, you really should get off that foot and go ice it or whatever. But to the level of reportability, we've not had anything.
And workers' comp serves a purpose. It's not for a stubbed toe.
Right.
Or a twisted ankle for a day or two. It's for more of the catastrophic type
Things.
injuries. That's what it's for.
So no, never been pretty nice.
Okay.
And then I'm really looking forward to the fact that the Ohio Library Council is running a facilities conference. Of course, it's in the summer when summer reading program is going on. And I guess they don't think about the fact that some libraries, everybody's kind of into it up to their eyeballs, regardless of what position you hold. And they
Right in the middle.
reading, my hope is that we can get at least one person to go and maybe we can learn some things about, long-term care of our own facilities, things we should be watching out for. So that's on our radar. That's kind of it.
Okay, thank you, Lynn. On to Miss Sarah with the financial report.
Okey dokey. Appropriation summary report is where I usually start. Our salaries for the month of January, we were at $64,163.48. That was down about $23,000 from December. Remember, we gave our employees a little profit sharing, so that's really close to how much that extra bit of payroll was. So we're right in the ballpark. Employee fringe benefits, $16,754.55. That's up about $2,152. Purchased and contracted services where in January, we were at $22,071.96. That's up a little bit from December, about $3,500. And this is definitely to be expected. Library materials and supplies compared to December, we're down $33,000. Yeah. didn't order quite as much in January. So between December 2022 versus January 2023, our month-to-date expenditures, we're down about $50,950. So out of all of the funds, our total month-to-date expenditures was $140,480. So most everything came from the general. Bank reconciliation report, our receipts for the month of January was $84,728. Payments, $140,533. I made no adjustments, which is very normal for January. Outstanding payments, I still have one payment outstanding for January, and it's for the Cincinnati Enquirer. It was later in the month, so they tend to take a little bit of time to cash checks. Cash flow summary, for the month of January, like I mentioned, we had, the PLF for January was $80,447.48. And then we brought in a little bit, of money from services provided to other entities. That was $1,575. And then our other receipts were $434.61, giving our general fund revenue $82,457. General fund expenditures, I already talked about all those numbers. The total was $114,440. Leaving our cash balance for our general cash flow at $633,499.34. So this is a clean cash summary report. I've updated it to the best of my knowledge for 2023. So the PL,
I was gonna say, it's actually nice to see that the PLF for February is higher than what we had anticipated.
yeah, it was roughly $10,000 more than we got last February. So we are definitely seeing good numbers coming in for PLF, like Lynn has told us. Cash summary by fund report, expenditures, like I mentioned, $140,000,480.59. That's all funds. January 2023 expenditure reconciliation reports. I made $63,026.80 in payments. You can see both our payrolls are super similar. The one for the first one in January was $32,775, and that January 30th was $32,119. So just could be a difference of a few hours on a different pay period. So board share retirement, $9,085.35. Medicare from the board, $910.42. Health insurance the board paid was $4,385.34. You'll see local taxes. We added one. Fayetteville just added a local tax.
1%.
So
The only village in the county that did not have one,
they do now.
and it's a good thing.
Yeah.
You know, I spent 29 years at Mount Orb and paid that 1% way back in the
Forever.
years ago.
I
Back in the olden days,
Back in
is
the
what we
olden
used to
days.
say to my mother. Back in the olden days, how did you do this? I don't know why you didn't.
You wouldn't believe the people, you know, that were against it, that
Yeah.
didn't even work in the village or live in the
Yeah.
village.
I was literally doing something with the local taxes and thought, Fayetteville. And then I opened the mail and there it was. It was like, I feel
Oh,
it.
you brought it into being there.
Yes.
The taxes, because my husband thought he was a farmer in a village.
Well, so there is now an extra line on this report for Fayetteville. So
Okay.
health insurance, employees pay out of pocket $1,090.80, leaving my total expenditures, like I've said before, $140,480.59. Any questions about the payments that I made? They were all pretty standard. We paid M&R Construction, $18,760. So that's the one that really pops.
Are they paid in full now or?
They are paid in full,
Mhm.
yes. The only people we have library design,
Yeah.
because they're finishing up the interior furnishings, that kind of thing. And then we are reconciling with Rumpke Restoration because they were supposed to do work. And so there are some, I'll say punch list items and some other things that we're not going to be making payment until everything is
Yeah.
cleaned up and done.
And I also have a PO open for Duke for the
Oh, yeah, we haven't been billed for the gas line yet.
Nope.
Oh, well,
So-
because they haven't, well, they have not
Oh, we'll
completely
build
finished
those.
it. No. The ditch has been done, let's say, and so there are other pieces that need to be done, yeah. So,
Fund summary report, I currently have $135,795 open in POs from 2022. I still have a Porter construction PO for 18,000, library design for 19,706, which I actually got an invoice, so that'll be paid next week. And then, I have roughly like $2,800 still left in general POs open for 2022, but they're slowly but surely getting closed. Any questions about the financials?
I'm just curious, have we seen any growth from our star account? You can-
Yeah, the interest has, let me see what it was. It's definitely,
making a difference.
oh, yeah. We are at 532,000, or sorry, 534,887, so, what was the, what's
What
that,
did we put in there?
200,000?
Stars has been,
Yeah,
has always been big with every school district.
Mhm.
Well,
for
I can't-
vocational.
let me see what the interest.
and from the
was.
prior bank balance, I mean, there was $2,000.
Yeah, that's what, yeah, from
Mhm.
interest.
Yeah, that's
So,
Just from the prior one,
so
yeah.
this time last year, we had 200,000 less, so we were only seeing maybe like $400 in interest. So yeah, that's,
I mean, that's
That's significant. Let that compound.
20% of my growing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, don't look,
I
just
know, I
don't
stopped
look.
looking, I stopped looking.
So, yeah,
It's depressing.
I need a motion then.
I'll move.
I'll second.
paper. No, I'm super unorganized at the moment. I'm sorry, who moved?
I moved
Okay.
and
I second. Thank you. Mark,
Yes.
Kathleen,
yes,
Tracy,
Yes.
Barb.
Yes.
Karen.
Yes.
Sue.
Yes.
Tina.
Yeah.
Thank you. I need a motion to approve the 2023 permanent appropriations.
Your nice goldenrod packet.
And I did a little summary, so you can see
By
the
fund level.
Thank you.
So as those are going around, I'll just kind of update you. So we do this spending, I call it a spending plan. It turns into our appropriations and we get it ready so we can actually have the temporary ones and make payments as of January 1. And we are required by the auditor to have the permanence done. Was it March 1st? Is there an official date? But we always do it in February.
Yeah.
Because it gives us time to actually see what really did we end up at the end of
Yeah.
the prior year with, and are we looking like we're on track? So we do it in February. So I'll just tell you a couple places that changed from the version that I gave you back in November. So, on the very front, the revenue plan, I had estimated the general property taxes at 610,000. So that's a smaller increase to 627.5. I had only listed the public library fund at 750,000. So I upped it to what I thought was realistic. Now, over the years, I've tended to be very conservative, and when we've had extra money come in, that's great. But I think the larger we have become, the more that we're really doing things and we know we have to spend the money. I'm really trying to get as close to actual, so that we can really see what kind of money we have and where to spend it. And then the interest or dividends line on the revenue page, that was 4,000 and I moved it up to 7 because we're obviously making some more money with our interest. Right, so there's that on the revenue side. On the expenditure side, I really did not change anything on for the general fund. The only thing that I did tweak was there's a line, it's 910, the operating transfers out. because we are moving $75,000 into that grant fund, which will then be reimbursed. I had to show it that it was going out of our general fund. So that's a change, but everything else I left the same because as I looked at the end of January financials and thought, well, we seem to be on track. So there's no sense monkeying with it right now. And then the only other thing that really, I think, was a major difference, there were some of the special funds, like the technology fund, we carried over a little bit less. The Cook Grant Fund, we carried over a little bit more. So there were some variations in what we carried over from the prior year. But I did update the grant funds, the library's accelerating learning grant fund page. That's fund, well, we still don't have a number for it, do we? A fund number for the grant for the.
No, I haven't created it
Okay.
yet.
So it says 2999, but that's just
It'll probably be 10, I would think.
2010
Yeah.
maybe. But I did obviously increase that transfer from general. I had originally thought maybe 50,000, but knowing we've got some big upfront expenditures, we did increase that. And we do not have yet, the Shelton Trust that has not resolved yet. We have not heard anything. So the legal stuff is still in motion. And so that one is still out there. So hopefully we'll get the money. It's all resolved this year. And so that's it. And then, of course, Sarah did give you the bottom line because that's what the auditor really is looking at. She doesn't care about our line items. We care.
Any questions for Lynn?
So some of these grants, like the Paramount grant, no fraud, those LAL, are those going to expire anytime soon? Are they returning?
So those are good questions. So, I will say the two that are earlier on in the packet, the Purdon grant and the Cook grant, those are both individual or family benefactors. And so we have long-term relationships with them. I don't see those changing. Paramount grant was something that we got for a little while, and it was a small amount of money, and then it changed into a bigger amount of money. So we said, okay, we better have a fund to track it. And then it was a not-for-profit group, and so some of their money went away, and so we did not get money last year, and we're down to $323. So I know Fayetteville's kind of eking that out as long as they can for special programs, and when it's done, I expect it will be done. So
I'm just wondering if we need to start looking elsewhere to supplement in case we lose some of those.
well, the thing is, it would be great to develop those long-term benefactors that would actually underwrite all the branches. And that's something that right now, because we've got the Ohio Department of Education grant that's $250,000, and they still haven't given us all the details. And so the time frame for to spend $250,000, that's kind of our priority right now. But I would say that's part of what the board can be doing is kind of their ears to the ground. Are there people that who would just love the library and want to support it in that way, so we can,
That would be nice to have. I know you're hiring or marketing person, right? I don't know if it would be within her wheelhouse to do some endowment campaigning or, just putting something together, talk about how we can do endowment.
That's actually one of our longer term plans. I think we're gonna have to get her up to speed on some other things first, but that's absolutely the outreach, the whole thing, developing those relationships, and Milcron, I hope they continue year after year after year. We made them happy last year. Sometimes it's hard to say. When leadership changes, everybody has their pet projects. So, good questions.
I need a motion, please.
Second.
Mark,
Yes.
Kathleen,
Yes.
Tracy,
Yes.
Barb,
Yes.
Karen, Sue,
Yes.
Tina.
All right, we're gonna move on to the executive director's report, starting with the building report and statistics.
All right, so,
Heather here.
yeah, so you can pick on her all you want and ask her questions about what, because you normally would anyway. So I don't know, I mean, Amber was with us. I don't know if she is anymore or.
I'm still here.
Okay, so Amber's also here to pick on if you want to do so. Any questions about anything on the building report or?
Well, I just want to say kudos to Amber and her staff. Kevin and I went to the date night last week. It was fun. We watched Sleepless in Seattle. And they had, is it Mark? No, is it Mark? No, Brian,
Jason?
Jason.
Jason was the bartender, yes, yeah.
Jason did the mocktails and I had the espresso martini. It was really good. It was a good time. So they did a great job.
Yeah, espresso martinis.
Thank you, Tina.
Yeah, we had one of those.
They're really good.
It was really good.
You know, it's combined the best of both worlds, right? Alcohol and caffeine.
But they're mocktails.
Yeah.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
yes. The alcohol makes you tired and the caffeine balances it out.
So you're just a tired drunk.
Yes.
And then you sit there at the bar with a cup of coffee and nobody knows you're drinking.
So, my question is, did anyone get a chance to watch the little video promo?
It was really.
Yes, done in the style of a silent, yes, film. It was very cool. And that is our wonderful patron who is building a portfolio and is doing some things for us free. And you know, we are hoping that we might be able to use some of the grant money to do some marketing for these things and have him develop some things and be able to actually pay him out of the grant for some grant related.
And not lose him to another job.
Exactly. Well, he's gotta, you know, find another job or create his own, and eventually he won't have time for, you know, freebie stuff, but
Yep.
we are very appreciative that he is working with us.
I had a question for Heather. So COVID tests requests have declined. So was that, were they bottomed out?
I
Or
think-
just a slight decline?
No, it's bottomed out.
Yeah.
And it's like that across all of the branches. That's what the other lady.
Interesting.
It's like, we had a bunch of requests right around the holidays, and then when you think people are sick after the holidays, they're like, I'm not testing.
Okay,
But
They just want to see.
No, I
Well, and
will
you
tell
can get
my
them free
mom-
from Medicare now and
Exactly,
other
yeah, that's what I was
places,
gonna say.
so.
My mom's gotten like 10 COVID
Yeah.
tests, but she hands them out when people come to the house, and that might be part of it.
Yeah.
One for you.
Yeah.
She gets
You're not
them every
coming
month.
in till you have your test.
Well, you know, it was interesting because earlier on, you know, there were
Oh,
so
yeah.
many places that were requiring, you can't come back until you've got, oh, you know, and so that, as that has changed and, you know, all the different things, the vaccines, that,
Yeah.
you know.
The whole
that's all-
dynamics of it
has.
has changed
It
and
has.
how it's affecting.
But poor Heather and the rest of the managers, they're going, okay, so now the Department of Health can send us more because not everybody's requesting them, right? We used to get however many, 24, you know, a shipment because we're low on the Brown County's low on the totem pole, right? We don't have as high a population density. And now that nobody else needs them, we're getting.
getting
oh, they were
tons.
sending them and sending, and if
They just want them out of their
I'm
closet.
telling you what. The boxes of these tests, I mean, I know it's not hard to be as tall as I am, but the boxes that they come in are almost literally as tall. I mean, they're humongous.
Wow.
It's crazy stuff.
it's hard to believe next month it'll be 3 years.
Yeah.
You know,
March 8th, I think, the day.
yeah, that's crazy. Any other questions on the building
I
report?
hope you enjoyed your picture.
Yes.
Good
very
picture.
good. Like the slime.
Yeah. that's fine.
Heather, I have a question for you. I saw the STEM here. I actually had a meeting this morning. Have you guys ever heard of junior achievement? They come into the schools. Have they ever partnered with libraries, or is it exclusively school?
No one has ever, no, yeah, around here, there's not ever been any
Yeah,
kind of.
because we're doing, I brought it into the Sardinia Elementary and we're doing it at Russellville in the high school, but I can give you Steve Bertkamp's information. It's free. It's completely free. And they have career fairs and they have a STEM program. It's like one of them. What are they called?
Junior achievement.
I'll
Yeah.
send you Steve's information and see if
Nice.
there's a library connection there.
Yeah, because especially for the STEM thing, if it fits into our grant
Right.
part, you know, that might be a great thing to have that kind of.
Also has the standards for Ohio State testing in it.
Uh,
So it'll be perfect for
That's-
homeschoolers.
Well, I was gonna say, and for us and that grant, one of the things that we had to make clear in writing the application was how what we were doing could be measured, you know, by the state education standards. I mean, those were kind of our benchmarks of, okay, well, we can do this program and we do it, but is it really fulfilling a need that they have expressed? So
Is it okay if I email him and introduce you to the email?
that's great,
I just met with him this morning, so I was like,
fabulous, yeah. And as far as the statistics go, one of the things that jumped at me about January was that the interlibrary loan levels, you know, have finally reached that place where we're into the tens of thousands at a system-wide level. And that was a very common and even higher thing pre-pandemic. And of course, we had some cargo, you know, freight issues in there as well. And we know that discouraged some people, but it's interesting to see that kind of activity is back up to that level at a pretty regular basis. And then, you know, I'll just point out down at in the collection section, which is the lower third of the page, there is that the target kind of, it's not an arbitrary number. It's kind of based upon how many items we actually have in our collection. Is we're looking at making sure we're reaching approximately 500 items to be weeded out of the physical collections every month. And that's, you know, some months you have time to do weeding, some months you don't have time to do weeding, but that helps to, you know, the branches to kind of keep on track with, okay, what section am I going to look at now? But of course, as collections are changing and there may not be as many physical items, you know, we will probably overall see all of those numbers decline because we do not keep track of our digital items in the same way. We don't count them every time an ebook has used up the last of the 26 circulation times we're allowed to have before they say, oh, it's no longer available because 26 people have already used this ebook. Well, it's kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a set number of circulations. Sometimes it's a 12-month license.
Okay, depends on the book.
It's
the
not
publisher.
fair.
It's,
It's not fair to-
don't get her started, right?
I would say, get me started on it too. It makes me, I was just thinking about it earlier. And the price is, you know, you as a consumer can go on Amazon and get a Kindle version of it for like $10. We have to pay like 85.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
And then it.
It expires after a certain number of circulations.
Yeah.
Let's suck it to
Yeah.
libraries.
Yeah. So those were the only real things. January tends to be a little bit slower month because typically, you know, it's after the holidays and it's cold and nobody wants to go outside. Yeah, but
Everybody's sick.
and everybody's sick. No, that's the staff. That's everybody's sick. So yeah, so there is that. And I will just point out something, and I didn't notice it when I was reviewing the statistics before we mailed out the packets. On the chat statistics, it says 2022 total and 2021 total. We didn't update that. It should say 2023 and 2022. So
Okay.
just FYI, it's not last year than the year before. It's current. So
I see somebody on the chat statistics wanted to know if they could get our board meeting, our local board meeting.
mhm.
How about that?
Pretty cool. And you might be surprised that there actually are people who watch it live as it goes on. You know, sometimes staff members are, you know, have an opportunity and really want to know what's going on. And I think it's fabulous that, you know, it makes it easier for people to know, you know, and pay attention to things. So that's good. Okay.
One quick thing, and you made me think of it. You guys were talking about STEM stuff. There is Harvard put together something that's really cool. Heather, I'm about to send you a link. I'll copy it to you. And it's for like 8th grade through 12th grade students and their teachers. And so, and it's video clips and little educational pieces, and it's searchable by topic, and it's outstanding.
Good.
So I don't know if you guys are able to, like, if you have a page where you bookmark links, you might consider that one. And on this thing I'm sending you, there's a webinar coming up on the 24th. It's free. This product is free. You don't have to pay anything.
Oh, that's even better.
Yeah.
Free, well, free depending upon who it's from is good. Free from Harvard is good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. There might be some other frees that I go, oh, that's not like free kittens. We don't need any.
All right, then announcements?
Yes. So you do have your announcements. I do have one additional paper copy if anybody needs a paper copy of announcements or what have you. Just a couple of things. I already talked about Georgetown a little bit in terms of who we have left to do things. There is, I don't know that I can do it on, I'm not even gonna try. Well, I just don't feel in the mood to mess with technology, but Tanya sent me a couple of really brief little video clips where she panned around the children's area.
Okay.
Because not only have they, you know, did M&R finish the walls, right? Library design has got the carpeting in and some of the main furnishings are in. So they're starting to put the room back together. And so, you know, that was something that just came this afternoon. I'll just email you with the links to those little video clips so you can see a little preview of what it's going to look like. Okay. Without a tree, but that may be coming. And
Tree and a bird.
a tree and a bird. No live ones. They already had a live bat last fall, so we don't need to go with anything else live. Funding opportunities. I just want to point out to you that, you know, the E-rate cycle is pretty much continuous because it's a July 1 through June 30th thing. And by the time you're putting in applications for the beginning of the following year, you're also asking for reimbursements for the current year. So it's just know that we're looking for every bit of money that we can continue to get from that funding to support internet service. We also can do hotspots that are used for library kiosk purposes. So if we go out and provide library service offsite, we can do those as well. And managed internal services, because I'm not sure right now that their equipment funding pool is something that we can necessarily use up by the time that funding period comes to an end. So, but we are looking to subsidize all the things that cost us money technology wise. As far as the library's accelerating learning grant that we received, we have filed everything that we need to file. There is a portal in the Department of Education's website that I don't find particularly intuitive. And I've had confirmation from their team that no, it's not particularly intuitive and it's hard to find information. And we haven't had any formal training on how to use, where we have to do everything on their website. But I was assured by a real live human being that yes, we had submitted everything we needed to submit, and they have not yet officially released the funds. You know, and they have not given us any specific feedback on our grant, you know, in terms of, oh, you really need to be sure and tweak this, or we need to move this out of this budget line and put it in that budget line. So we're kind of waiting, but we're trying to make sure we have all of our internal things done before they say, go ahead, spend money. And then the Appalachian Community Grant, you may recall that we are trying to participate both with the county and also with a group of various organizations throughout Southeast Ohio, where we would get funding for maker spaces. I've not heard anything from that group about how their technical assistance grant application went. From the county, they wanted more detailed information and they needed it by the end of January. So I included in your packets the fleshed out version of what I had given them with a little bit of a tweak. The first one I'd written as kind of, these community centers could really be in any building, doesn't have to be a library, maybe there's a building in a village that's really more appropriate or what. We're behind the concept, will help however, well. I said, all right, we're just gonna do it in libraries. And because we don't have any space to actually build out of Georgetown, we're gonna limit it to the other 3 branches. And that's the only way I could be able to say it's gonna cost X, Y, Z, to do give them some real numbers. So if you noticed a difference, that's why there's a difference in the focus of that application. But I don't know whether they've had any feedback, whether they've actually, I have to assume they've applied for this technical assistance grant, but I kind of wonder based upon the information I'm getting, but because we can't go it on our own, I'm just giving them what they need so we don't get left out and we'll just see what happens.
So what entails community center? Like, is everything?
So basically a space that can provide multiple functions. And the grant itself has three core initiatives: workforce development, healthcare, and something else. Where's my switch gears here? It's actually in the proposal here. So I addressed it. It's on the 3rd page at the very top where, if you've written any grants, you learn that you have to be explicit about how what you're asking for meets their standards. You cannot assume that they get it, that, oh, this thing I'm asking for, absolutely, it checks off A, B, C, D. You have to tell them. So that's what I did. So starting page 3, where it says conformity to the ACG categories. Well, here's the categories: community development infrastructure. Here's what we're doing. We're beefing up the infrastructure that already exists here. Healthcare, this is what we could do with this community center. We could bring in hearing and vision screenings, and people could do telehealth visits in our, soundproof pods, and workforce, the things that are related. So those were the 3 main content areas that they wanted to see addressed. And then there were some other things about visibility, economic impact, et cetera, et cetera. So
does the grant cover just like capital expansion, or does it cover resources?
it covers, well, there's a lot we don't know, because this is money that the governor set aside. It was $8 billion.
It was a lot.
It was a lot of money. And they specifically said, okay, phase 1 of rolling out this money, and if this is just Appalachian counties, right, is for technical assistance grants. So each county could get $250,000 to help with the planning, development, things like, okay, we need site testing if we're going to add on, we need architects, whatever. So that's what this was for, because they were
Just to get the assistance.
just to get the assistance. And then the next round, which I thought was supposed to open up like next fall, is actually applying for the things to implement. And that would do things like subscription to the Job Now that might cover a year's worth of that kind of thing. But there were a lot of unknowns, I will just say.
I will say, Eastern School District, they are receiving money. I don't know, I don't think it's the same pool, but it may be. And they're adding healthcare centers to their elementary schools.
And that might be
That might. be-
ESSER money. ESSER money is
Yeah, I think
the
that's. from
pool that
then,
we
yeah.
got our grant from. I think
Yeah.
it was the elementary and secondary school
Yeah.
emergency
Yeah, they're gonna do
rescue,
mental
something.
health
else.
Ripley's got that right
Do they
now.
have it now?
Ripley has it, West Claremont has it.
Yeah.
How's it
Wrap
working
around
out in
services for
Ripley?
everything.
I'm hearing mixed reviews of that coming. Is it working in Ripley? Or-
Well,
It's attached to the back of the elementary
Yeah, that's
building.
how they're gonna do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the one in West Claremont has been going for a while and it is,
the Developmental Disabilities Board has been working for a year with the vocational school to build a building down there for students or kids that are out of school, anyone with mental or health problems. It would be for the whole county.
Yeah, I think this might be open to county, not just
Yeah.
students too. Yeah.
nice.
So we'll see. I tried to balance putting in enough information and thought behind it so that we wouldn't be just dismissed and written off as a, there's not nothing to go here, but how realistic is it that this is,
Yeah.
because I don't know what other things, since they're doing it at the county level, are they just gonna focus on tourism
Right.
and,
Not just-
and not?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I can see the library, just big picture thinking like these community centers, because it is such a rural county and there is such an economic need to have like meals for kids. Once a day after school, they can do tutoring and get a meal and and having that just like almost like a YMCA that they have in the city, but here at the library.
Mhm.
I could see that fitting very well. into
Right.
the-
And then we just get
Just
the
need-
transportation to
Yep.
bus them from the school to here and
the-
we're good. If we get all of the other organizations to subsidize the center and the things going on and bring in those, then we can use our money to pay
Maybe we can
staffing.
go to Millicron and call it the Millicron Community
Yeah,
Center.
there you go.
County.
Whatever works.
Okay, on to committee reports.
No committees have met since the last meeting, so we're none.
All right, number 6, mileage reimbursement policy review, which is your orange.
Orange, yes, orange. Yeah, we just had said when we, so I think it was March of last year when we upped it and we said we would take a look at it after 6 months. And then in August, I had made a note, we need to look at it again in February. So, the policy is now that we are paying the IRS rate for travel, and the question just is that something we want to stay with, or do we want to do something else? I will say from the administrative side, the biggest hassle is going, okay, they don't send everybody automatic notices when they change their rates, and so keeping up with making
Right.
sure we're doing that. And the fact they set it at always a half a cent. Why 62.5 cents? Why 55
How do
and a
you
half
pay
cents?
somebody a
Why?
half cent?
Did
Why?
it just go up? I thought I saw.
It did in
Well,
January.
Okay, boom.
65.
Lynn missed
Yes.
Okay.
January is often the time that it
I
changes.
think it's 65.
Well, and at what point do we go, okay, yeah, we know everything has gone up, right? What are gas prices now versus what were they when we made this
Yeah,
change?
wait till the end of the year.
Do we set a flat rate and say, okay, we're gonna go with this and just keep an eye on the cost of gas for a while? And if it's not changing, because that's what this is subsidizing, right? It's subsidizing travel. So that I think is really, from my perspective, what the conversation needs to be. And we can keep on going, but as it eats up a bigger and bigger portion of our budget, when do we start saying, okay, managers, even you can't travel unless you clear it with me first, because we just don't have the money.
How much mileage reimbursements are you doing? How much travel, I guess, is there right now?
Varies from month to month, week to week. I mean, there's sometimes it's like, okay, this is meeting number 12 this week and they all are in person again. And so I would say personally, probably I'm the biggest mileage eater. I would suspect that there are probably some managers who don't turn in all the mileage that they're supposed to.
So
Even those I can't see right now.
I have a suggestion, kind of what we see at the corporate America level. You keep this and then you make decisions internally on travel. So for example, this year with Coterie, we're limiting travel. And making it, essential travel only. Or if you do need to travel, then it has to go to the Pope for approval. That type of
Okay,
thing. So,
yes.
I mean, that's what I would suggest. I mean, it serves its purpose.
Right.
Gas prices are gonna fluctuate. That's just the way it is. It's good to have. It's a good perk, but I think it becomes more of an executive or an assistant executive decision-making on travel.
Yeah, unfortunately, since we have always been, and this has come from me probably from years of having to be really frugal about it, is okay, y'all, there are 3 of you going to a workshop, there will be we're paying 1 mileage.
Yep.
Figure out how you're gonna ride share,
Yep.
that kind of thing has always been part of what we do. And what are we doing? We're gonna combine a trip here, or but the fact is that there are a number of things that people have to go, okay, so these programs that we're all love, right? Well, you can't order in the ingredients for mocktails.
Right.
You have to go shopping and go
Yes.
and then what do they have to do? They also have to, okay, I'm gonna stop at the office because I have to get the credit card and maybe the tax exempt card for the store. And then I have to go shopping somewhere and then I have to come back and then so really the mileage, I don't see a big drop by looking at saying essential travel only because we pretty
That's what you're doing.
Pretty
Yeah.
much into that now, right?
So I agree with the process, but I don't see us saving any money because we're pretty well there. I mean, there are a couple of places where I would have to say, okay, guess what, managers? You can't just decide you're gonna make a trip and stop here and pick things up because, and we try to encourage that anyway. Oh, somebody from the office will be going in that direction. Well, let's bring your stuff. But my days of being a pack mule, I mean, that's the old back and the arms just can't handle it so much anymore. And you don't want workers' comp, on top of it. So,
So then having said that, which is good, that we're already practicing that. Then, the only other option is you put a dollar limit on it or you get rid of it. And those are your only 2 options. that are
Yeah, I
left.
think picking and choosing, like, I'll give it to you, but I'm not gonna give it to you.
Right.
Or you say, we'll do it for state level events or local level events, but not state, or something that makes sense like that.
right, but I think that there's also something in guidelines that say, I can't require somebody to go to a training and not
Pay
pay.
them.
Right,
Okay, so you're still at that, okay,
gotta do
Gotta
it
do it.
anyway.
Mhm.
because you really need to go to this training.
Could you do like a bank, like each branch has 300 miles to share between the staff and it's kind of like Treasure Island? Like-
Well, we set
Like
a
you're- I'm
budget.
taking the miles.
We set a
Yeah.
budget by branch.
Okay.
Here is your meeting / travel, and that has to cover both registrations for training
Mhm.
and actual mileage. So we do that and, we try to say, okay, you really need to use your discretion, who's going for training, how many trainings. Sometimes, this would be great, but you know what, you just went to this other one that was also great. And sometimes you have to say no,
Yeah.
And then there's times when you go, okay, we've moved somebody into a position and now we need them to go to everything that's available to bring them up to speed. So it's hard to say,
Yeah,
you
to set a
know,
certain amount.
it's
It sounds to me like. it's
equal
pretty
is not
essential to
fair,
some
you know what I
people,
mean?
know?
So I'm just saying that it
It's a
is.
necessary
It
evil.
is.
And,
It is.
and instead of, well.
Do we
maybe-
wanna not send people to training because it's gonna
No.
cost us mileage?
No.
I think
I
we
would
just
say-
have to put that in our budget.
Have it up to a certain amount, like 50 miles per month. I don't know. I don't know if that's relative or not. But anything after that, you have to get written director approval. And that could cap down, people.
Well,
don't
so,
think
so
anybody's abusing
don't
it.
go to Eastgate for shopping.
Right, because you're done.
May as well be done. Yeah.
One thing to think of too, though, is that we get invited to do outreach.
Right.
And we don't want to ever pass up the opportunity. to
No.
do that
Somebody.
That's what I'm saying. I think it's a necessary
Yeah.
evil.
My votes, I mean, great discussion,
Yeah.
great suggestions. My vote would be, they are already doing everything they can. I mean,
Exactly.
they literally are.
Yeah.
And I believe
And I don't
that.
wanna see us tamp down what needs to be done just
It
because
has to
of
be.
mileage.
Or offer, or force somebody that's asking for outreach to pay for mileage.
Yeah.
No.
That's
Yeah.
a no.
Yeah, that's
That affects their quality.
Can I make one suggestion to add to this? When you were saying about keeping track, why don't we just add the reimbursement, the rate published by the Internal Revenue Service in January of the current year? Or something along the lines of, we only have to look once a year at whatever that rate is, because if it
Yeah.
generally changes in January, because then it's like, okay,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
changed in July, sorry, our policy says this is what we're gonna
Right.
pay, and we'll
Catch up.
catch up
Reevaluate next January.
in January next.
Yeah.
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 Like that.
They rarely
I
do
think
bumps
that's
in the
good.
middle of the year, but they did last year
Yeah,
because
they
the gas
have, yeah,
prices
yes.
went so fast.
I know, but I'm just.
They're gonna do it
just
again
trying
this
to
year.
keep track of-
Yeah,
Cause our surplus is down to nothing.
So we could say, keep it, add the extra verbiage, and it's reviewed each year. Is everybody good? with
Yeah.
that?
okay. Yeah.
It's pretty
Yep.
consistent month to month as far as financing, like what you appropriate each month. It's never like
Well, we don't,
staggered.
I was gonna say, we don't appropriate by month. We have an annual budget. And so, you know what? And I look at every month, my report looks a bit different than what you guys get. I look at line items by accounts and I look at each branches and I can see the percentage that's been spent. And I use those every month and I mark them up and make notes and send them along to the managers for their branches to say, okay, you're not spending your book money quickly enough, you need to watch this line. Don't worry about that line because we only pay it once a year and it's done,
So
so
you
this.
already have that quality control, so it
Mhm.
sounds like you've got it taken care
Yeah.
of.
So can I not bring this up again ever? I mean.
Yes.
Yeah.
You just fixed it.
Great discussion.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
You
Properly
reevaluate
discuss.
every January at your.
yeah, otherwise you just do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did they vote on that?
There's no vote.
Well, if
Oh,
you're
should we vote?
changing the language of the policy to
Okay.
include published by the IRS in January of each year, then I need to, then that'll be a change to the language.
Based on the rate published on
And yes,
January.
I think it's December. It's usually like
Okay.
one of the last few days of December.
So
December
January
31st.
1st.
That's
There
a
we
good clean
Yeah.
date.
Yeah,
Yeah,
December 31st.
yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's
And
okay.
based on December 31st of the previous year or whatever.
So we need a motion.
I will move that we change it to the IRS rate as of December 31st to apply for the entire year until the next December 31st.
I'll second.
Mark,
Yes.
Kathleen,
Yes.
Tracy,
Yes,
Barb,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Sue,
Yes,
Tina.
Yes.
Okay, number 7, motion to approve the disposal of property, which is your yellow, I guess, yellow
Yep.
page.
We are doing spring cleaning early.
Yes, good stuff.
because it feels like spring outside today.
yeah,
I have
Wait till
sandals on.
Saturday.
I have sandals on.
I had sandals on earlier.
Second,
Mark,
Yes.
Kathleen,
Yes.
Tracy.
Yes.
Barb,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Sue,
Yes.
Tina.
Yes.
And just so you know, we use a company called Accurate IT who will come and pick up pallets worth of basically anything that you can plug in, and they go through it. They try to actually reuse anything that they can reuse. And
Mhm.
so we feel really good about giving them the stuff, and they're,
Do you
It's
get a
not going
kickback
in
from
like-
it?
we do not, but we don't have to do anything except make it available to them. They come
Wow.
and pick it up
That might
and
be a
get it
good
out of our
service
storage room.
to offer the community then.
Mm,
Have a day and have them bring a truck, big old truck,
mhm.
and
Yeah. I'm not-
Yeah,
I'm
some
not-
take it, not make you pay.
I'm not sure I would do
Yeah.
that,
no,
not from a liability perspective.
okay, tell me why. I believe you, but
From a
explain it.
liability perspective, I would not do that. If they pick something up from us and it blows up or catches fire or causes an injury to one of the kids, not worth it.
So-
By disposing of it through proper channels.
That's what I meant.
Company.
That's
No,
what I
we
meant.
do that. I thought
Right,
you
we
said
do.
hold it to the public.
No,
Oh,
no, I mean,
Comes to pick up that public can bring in.
like we
Oh,
invite the
I thought you
public to
meant-
donate stuff
My
into the
bad.
truck.
I thought you meant take that stuff and donate it to the public.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Okay, my bad.
Yeah.
Okay, number 8, motion to approve change order for Library Design Associates for renovations to the Georgetown building, revised shelving needs for A6, creative book and children's area, additional costs, $1,567 as your chartreuse page.
Neon green, whatever, yeah. So
Oh,
this,
February.
this was, I mean, you'd already approved the contract, and I thought it was really important for our records, if there was a formal change order, to have that go on record, and so that the auditor doesn't go, well, you didn't approve that, so what, in the initial contract, even though it's only $1,567, and I can approve that amount of money, on my own. So that's why you're seeing it.
Mhm.
And basically, it's a function of our old building. So one of the walls that had some shelving, I think it was really more cubby style shelving on it. There was no indication that the wall was not going to hold the shelving that we ordered, and so they had to,
Yes.
Yep, some
I
good
move.
documentation.
Yeah.
oh.
Mark,
Yes,
Kathleen,
Yeah.
Tracy.
Yes.
Barb.
Yeah.
Karen.
Yes.
Sue,
Yes.
Tina.
all right, number 9, I need a motion to enter executive session to consider the employment of public employees.
I move we move into executive session.